viewers. My name is Mike Sheck. I'm the president of Scanmar. Today we're here at the Annapolis Boat Show and we have the Monitor Windvane. The Monitor is a servo pendulum style windvane. Works on just about any boat out there. Take you through any type of weather condition, light air to the heaviest you'd ever want to be out in. Fundamentally, works on the principle of taking input in from the wind, communicates that down to the water paddle using the force of the water to push it aside, at which point it will then turn the wheel or the tiller, as it might be, in the appropriate direction. Simple as that. 316 stainless, been making them for about 40 years.
That was Mike Sheck, president of Scanmar, and genuinely nice guy. So the Monitor Windvane, in my opinion, is probably one of the best way to go for a boat like this. Yes, I could have did sheet to tiller steering. Yes, I could have built a simple trim tab. Yes, I know what Wave Rover did. But in my opinion, the servo pendulum type windvanes are the most reliable way to steer a straight line without any power. Also, buying a new one is probably the best way to go, but in my case, that was not something I could swing. The one that I have here, I've had for a number of years, and it predates Scanmar. It's actually from the Larwick era, when they were made of 304 stainless. It does not have any of the improvements that the newer ones have, and yes, there's some inherent risk with using the old ones, but this is what I have, and this is what I'm going with. So what follows is a 2.5-year compilation of me repairing and building a custom mount for this. So when I first started this project, I did an assessment. There was a little bit of surface rust on the apparatus. Here the actuator shaft was missing a few washers and clips. The pilot shaft with that pulley on there, that needed to be rehabbed. The hinge for the paddle that goes in the water, this was broken and bent, and that needed to be welded. At least that was the plan at the time. Here the water paddle itself, this is the old style. For some reason this foam piece had broken off long ago. Here I had taken apart the pulley from the pilot shaft with heat and sanded it down to bare metal to see if it was salvageable. I used some epoxy with fairing filler and then just painted it. Also painted that weight on the carriage and started to polish up some of the smaller parts. Here the top carriage was in great shape. All of the bushings were nice and firm. There was no play. Here I'm epoxying that foam into the rudder. This was an easy fix. And just painted it. Several months later, had the whole thing apart, polished all of the smaller parts in the main body, and those bronze gears were also cleaned up with a wire wheel and clear coated. Here the water paddle was polished, although probably needs a little bit more. And I'm starting to collect some of the parts I need. Here's a light wind paddle. I ended up buying a new latch from Scanmar, or a hinge latch. And this is very well made, much better than the old one. And also bought some tubing for the top part of the custom frame. These are 4 45-degree angle tubes, so connect 2 of them together to form an S. Just need to get the one end expanded. It is now well over a year since I shot video on this Windvane project, and since then I think I've acquired everything I need to build a frame. These are some of the bottom supports and the diagonal supports. These are the top tubes, which will form an S, and I did get those expanded so that one will fit inside the other. I brought him to a muffler shop and he actually expanded both ends, which I didn't need, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be cutting that off. Also, I've acquired all of the stainless, this is 316 stainless hardware that I need. A stainless tube that'll act as a compression tube. And some pretty thick sheet metal. This is what I'm going to make the feet out of. And regarding that sheet metal, so I did try to work with this to make those feet or U brackets. And it's a little bit hard to work with because it's so thick. So moved to a thinner one. And I made these, which were coming out okay. I made the first two. These are for the upper. Until I realized that someone had a set of the ones from Scanmar and offered them to me, which are these. These are the top, which are brand new. These are the bottom, which are used, but are in great shape. Also, the final pieces are these brackets, which hold the diagonals, and I just made these from, I believe it was 16 or 18 gauge stainless. Just wrapped them around one of the frame brackets or tubes, and then just bent them and polished them. And the very final pieces are these cheek blocks, which I will show when I mount them, and these cleats for the line that go on the tiller, and the line itself, which is 1/4 inch Dyneema with a polyester jacket. And the very last part that I needed were these turning blocks on both sides. So the previous owner of this monitor did not need this setup, but the Contessa does. So I purchased the little brackets here from Scanmar for both sides, and then I thought I might just find a block that would work, which was very difficult, but I did find them after digging through boxes of blocks that I used, parts, marine chandlery. And as it turns out, these are the exact blocks that were used on the monitor from this vintage. They're actually made by a company called Seaway, which is no longer in business. Now it's time to mount, but first I need to position it. I've got it hanging on a small block there that I've screwed into the frame of the boat shed. And now trying to do some rough fitting here on the stern deck. I've got the leveling worked out, and I've dismantled it to over drill and fill with epoxy for the wood core. There's actually no wood core in this hole, the ones that are further forward, which means I'm going to have to put in some sort of filler on the backing block that I'm going to do here. Now that epoxy has cured and I drilled it, also I've made a backing block for these top mounts, along with a little shim or spacer because of the deck coring stopping here, so there needs to be a piece in there. So after that I'll get I'll put some fender washers on, and anything that has through bolting in this mount gets one of these compression tubes. So like here or there or there. And this is the last piece I have, so I'm gonna have to order some more for the bottom. But I finished this one already. You can see the butyl coming out here, the butyl tape. So onward. Top mount's finished. Next we'll be installing the diagonals that go from here to here. So I have these brackets that I made, and I'm going to cut a length of this 1.25 inches. And that wasn't too bad. So I just cut it to length, about approximately 23 inches, flattened one end in a vise, turned it 90 degrees, and then flattened this end, of course drilled some holes, and then bolted it in, and need a little bit of fitting here. All I need to do is just put a little bend here, and I got both sides done. And now for the lower brackets. So the actual instructions from Scanmar actually tell you, so these lower brackets need to be splayed out about 15 degrees from the ends here, splayed out in this direction, and then 20 degrees going up. But the 15 degrees was actually easy because they just tell you 45-inch spread here on the transom marked with tape. And then I was able to measure the 20 degrees simply using a carpenter's square there. So I'll mount this up and then cut it to length and then flatten the end, of course using backing blocks inside the transom. Okay, so simple enough. Similar to the diagonals, I flattened the end in a vise, put a little bend in it to adjust, bolted it into the bracket here, drilled the holes here, and then protected the wood coring in there with the usual epoxy method. So I'll just through bolt those, add the backing block to the inside, and then seal this with 4200. Sealed with 4200. The brackets have been bolted into the frame, and all of the nuts and bolts have been torqued down, and the mounting is complete, and I can just remove that line and block that I have holding it. So now I've fitted the paddle, and I did take measurements before, but now I'm verifying that 6 inches down in the paddle should be the exact water line, which it is, and that corresponds to 42 inches from the top tubes there on center. And of course the whole thing is level and plumb. And just a couple of notes before I got started installing the monitor. I mentioned in a previous video that I was going to remove the paint from the hole that I closed in the transom for the quadrant that was here, as well as where it was attached on the rudder, and gel coat that. And I did do that, and it came out pretty good, although it needs to be polished. I did not get that on video because I'm going to do a separate episode on gel coating. So more importantly was the rudder. I needed to modify it yet again. This lower gudgeon, which was installed at the factory, is a bit offset to starboard, so the entire rudder was offset, and this became very pronounced when I installed the monitor, that the rudder was not centered. So I ended up moving the middle and upper gudgeon, and you can actually see here the original hole, and how this was moved over about 1.5 inches. So just need to gel coat that, and that'll be complete. Okay, and now I'm installing the line from the monitor to the tiller. And the instructions say, starting from the vertical axis of the rudder shaft, which is marked there in blue tape, to go 20 to 30 inches to where the line will attach. So this is actually about 30 inches here. So I need to go a little bit further than that, which should be okay. And then you need to also put on another block. So your line comes out of the monitor around this turning block, or we can do this one, and traditionally it comes to a block that you hang off of the push pit. But I noticed on Tim Lackey's website, LackeySailing.com, where he has some very detailed records, he uses these Harkin Carbo blocks, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be attaching one of those, and to determine the location, which I've already done there in blue tape, you put the tiller to 15 degrees, which I determined with the carpenter's square, and then you take a right angle and you measure to the point where the line will go. and I was able to get those cam cleats attached to the tiller. So because the tiller is round, this was a little bit more involved than I thought. Originally I was planning to just plane down a flat surface on the tiller itself because the bottom of the cam cleats themselves are flat, but that would have made the tiller a little bit too thin. So I made up one of these, or this little adapter, and had to get creative with how I shaped it, using a hole saw and then chiseling it out. And then I just epoxied it and screwed it down so that it wouldn't go anywhere, and then just attached the cam cleats themselves to it with some pretty long screws, and then I used some sealant in the screw holes to make sure that they don't back out. And now that that's attached, I've got the other turning blocks here in the combing. So I just drilled holes through the fiberglass, threaded them, screwed them in, and then add a little 5200 to hold it even better. And I think that should be good. Okay, so slate modification. I'm not sure why these cheek blocks are being used, because this is coming in at an angle and it's exiting at an angle. And I can hear this thing rubbing here, so there's going to be a heck of a lot of chafe on the line. Also, this cam cleat doesn't hold because the line is going up, so it's just being pulled out. And thirdly, this will contact the combing, so I need to make a modification. And that is much better. So I've replaced the cheek block with a spring-loaded swivel block that I had in my parts box. This is the type that you mount on deck for running lines back to the cockpit, which I do not do on this boat. Also, these cam cleats, I moved them to the side, and it functions much better now. They don't pop out, and I use some contact cement with an old piece of sailmaker's leather for chafe, and of course rewrap the tiller, and the whole thing functions very well now. So moving those to the side also had the benefit of increasing the range of the tiller, because before they were contacting the combing much sooner. And that completes it. So I will have a follow-up video on function and performance. I have an offshore trip coming up in a few months, and I'll be living with it as is. There's still a few things I'd like to do. I think I prefer the old chain method instead of these cam cleats, so I might do that at some point. Also, I need to replace these sheaves here. There's two in there at the bottom, the white ones, and then there's two behind those turning blocks. They're functional, but they're pretty old and due for a replacement. And finally, I need to run a line from the course correction pulley forward so that you can correct the course from inside the boat.